section. First we'll hear the trumpets. Is that third instrument that's really challenging. It only has 3 fingers, but of all the brass instruments, it's the hardest to really hear and get the right notes. Especially playing this concert this early, being accurate on the French horn is very challenging. So to give them a little help, something to listen to, we're going to have the French horns and our tenor saxes play together. Next, moving on to our low brass, our slide trombone section. And euphonium. We got 2 of them, I can't leave them out. Trombones and euphonium. Don't have this section play on their own because we usually just have 1 or 2, but we have 6 beginning tubas. They play the lowest notes of all. It's extremely low, so listen very carefully to our tuba section. 1, 2, ready, go. Run out of chairs for these gentlemen standing here in the back. That's our percussion section. We start out on just bells, so they're playing tunes with everyone else. We'll add drums on our next concert. Our percussion section. All the individual sections, we're going to put the whole band back together, kind of like an artist taking all these different colors, putting them into one big beautiful painting. The entire band again. A show of hands. If you were ever a beginner on any instrument and remember playing that song, raise your hand. Yes. Very good. Excellent. We'll trip down memory lane for everybody. The next piece we're going to play is a little more challenging. It uses, by the way, all these songs use only 5 notes. We've just learned 5 notes. Go Tell Aunt Rhody, our next tune, uses the same 5 notes as Rolling Along, but it puts them in different finger patterns. And for the brass, they have to jump from a low note to a high note without changing fingers. So it's all done with the speed of their lip buds. Another challenge for them. Go tell Aunt Rhoda. Next piece uses the same 5 notes, but we skip notes. It's called intervals. The piece is called march steps. Uses the same 5 notes, but we leave notes out and maybe skip up a third. And then maybe start on another note and skip up 2 notes. Again, different finger patterns. The trombones, different slide position patterns. The percussion, different sticking patterns. March steps. Recognize things so far. Excellent. That's a good first step for any first concert. Excellent. All right. You all remember playing these songs? Okay. In fact, sitting down here is our 6th grade advanced band that you'll hear. And I'd just like to remind them that exactly 1 year ago, this was all they could play, remember? And wait till you hear what they're able to do after 1 year. All right. The next piece we're going to play is called Listen to Our Sections. Every piece we've played so far has been played in what we call unison. Everybody playing at the same time. But as you probably know, many groups, not everybody plays at the same time. It actually is more challenging. So this next piece, it's not just what they play, but when they play it. In music, that's called resting. Many times they just look at the first note and go. There's several sections in here. They have to wait 4 beats or wait 8 beats. So we'll see how well they do on Listen to Our Sections. In other words, we really make them think on this one. It's not just, well, they're playing, so I'll play too. They have to count their rest and know exactly when to play. Listen to our sections. Nothing wrong with an impromptu solo. Right? The final question, before we play our final piece, teaching beginning band is very interesting. The way we run band classes, I mainly teach the woodwinds. Mr. Yankee teaches the brass and percussion. And we're teaching the same song, but like I'm teaching everyone how to hold the flute, hold the clarinet, hold the saxophone, hold the bassoon, hold the oboe. And then you put your fingers like this, flutes for this note, for this for the clarinets, for this for the saxes. It would be like teaching a science lesson in a classroom that had kids from 8 different countries and they only spoke that language. You teach the lesson in Chinese, then you teach the lesson in French, then you teach the same lesson in German, okay? And I think having to do that, I'm very impressed with how well they're picking things up, and it's starting to get to the point that I don't have to do that as much. They're able to read their fingering chart, figure it out themselves. They've worked on counting their rhythms, so when I explain a new rhythm, they make a connection to the last rhythm that we learned. So I'm very pleased with how they've done, especially in this short amount of time. We really only had the instruments for about a month. Very pleased with how they're doing. Our final piece is entitled Pour It On. It's our first full page of sheet music. Instead of just a little 16-measure song, it's 45 measures long. Okay? Our first real piece of music, from the top of the page to the bottom of the page. There's a background track that goes with it. It's a lot of fun to play. You all remember Pour It On? Yes. Okay? Our final piece of the Highland Hills Middle School Band, or beginning band, first ever concert, Pour It On. Very impressed with the band program here. We don't just think of it as 1 year, then the next year, then the next. It's actually a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, an 8-year program, okay, in band. I'm sure many of you have seen the high school marching band. every one of those kids that you see playing that incredibly difficult stuff out on the football field or on the Floyd Central stage played this concert when they were in 5th or 6th grade. Okay? So if you see the high school band, it all starts here and just continues to build from year to year. Very proud of these kids. We're going to take a moment now to get the advanced band up on stage. Here's where you all will go. Whoa, stop. Oh, Mr. Yankee knows. Okay, Mr. Yankee's there. Follow Mr. Yankee. Beginning band. Percussion. Take your percussion kits out in the hall and put them away. And just leave them there in the hall. Everyone else, file out, row by row. Front row,